After the project was set up by Tourism South East in 2007, over 300 chefs took part in the Fresh Skills for Chefs events across the region. The project was designed to help local chefs develop their skills across a range of culinary styles, importantly using fresh local ingredients to benefit both the chefs and the food producers.
I think it's really important to take the chefs out of their kitchens. They all say they want to source locally, but they don't often understand what the issues are behind it. To get them to come out to meet the farmers, to meet those producers, and they can both work together and open a dialogue so that their expectations can match. So often the producers don't understand what pressures the chefs are under and vice versa. So by getting them together, they can find out how they can work together. Also the chefs can discover just how good the products are that are on their doorstep.
Funded by CEDA, the South East England Development Agency, Fresh Skills for Chefs provided heavily discounted masterclasses and chefs' tours with the aim of raising catering standards in the South East. This particular group of chefs, in association with the local food group A Taste of Sussex, started their chef's tour at the award-winning Carr Taylor Wines, which provided the opportunity to sample their range of products with a view to using them in their own establishments. The group was given a brief talk on the history of the business and the viticulture industry in the South East, before being taken on a tour of the vineyard, including the barns where the grapes are pressed and the wine is bottled. Finally, they were invited to taste a selection of the Carr Taylor produce, the bit they'd all been looking forward to. Next stop on the tour was Hastings Fisheries, a sustainable fishery on the south coast, to learn about the quality incentives of buying fish fresh from the sea.
I think it's very important to actually source local fish when you have the opportunity. Restaurants, etc. can come direct to Hastings and they can get their fish from the Hastings market. They know it's local produce, will be sourced locally, and it's going to be very fresh and its best quality. The fresher it is, the better it is. It saves all the air miles of it being travelled. It's got lower carbon footprint, and here we are, right on your doorstep. We've got a lovely natural resource and it should be utilised.
And what better way for the chefs to judge the quality for themselves than to sample the produce in a local restaurant. After lunch, the group were taken to Northiam Dairy, an established local producer that exclusively takes on clients within a 50-mile radius of the dairy. So playing host to a group of local chefs is extremely important to them.
It's as far as we can sensibly get with our fleet of vans distributing it, and if we do make a mistake we can run back and fix it easy enough. It's about service to the customer. I won't take on an account that we can't put full service into.
The chefs were given a few free samples to take away and try, and then they journeyed onwards to the next stop, the Lighthouse Bakery in Robertsbridge. Introducing the chefs to a wide range of producers and suppliers can have a major impact on how local their menus become.
A lot of restaurants in particular are realising now the value of good produce on their table, and the simplest things are the most important, like bread. So somebody may go in and say, I know the restaurant's good because the bread's good.
I think that especially nowadays, we're worried about things like food miles. We're worried about where our food comes from. When you have a local supplier, you can have a relationship with that supplier. You can see where the food's coming from. You can see where that supplier gets their ingredients. You know, so we supply other people. We try and use local ingredients too. So we use Northiam Dairy products in our products. So it's all, there's a chain of that.
The final producer this group visited was Buster's Farm, which supplies fresh and home-processed meat to local restaurants and caterers. The chefs were taken around the 400-acre farm to see the conditions in which the animals are kept, the way the meat is processed, and they also got a chance to see the fresh products being made.
People are actually becoming more interested in where their food comes from. It's a talking point, and they know that it's sort of honest produce that hasn't come from a massive factory in China or something like that, so they really, really like it.
As well as the chef's tours, Tourism South East also organised a series of masterclasses, giving local chefs the opportunity to enhance their existing skills by learning from specialists in different culinary fields. One of the masterclass venues was Brooks Restaurant on the Oxford Brookes University campus. Here, our chefs were trained in the art of creating the perfect puddings for their menus, and if a great dessert wasn't enough, the chefs were treated to a cocktail masterclass as well. The team at Brooks were a great supporter of the Fresh Skills for Chefs project.
It really focuses on about things like local food and provenance of food, and really sort of gets the chefs to understand about where they should buy their food from and why they should buy it locally. And also start to think about what do you mean by local food? Are you talking about 1 mile here, you're talking about 30 miles? But more importantly, people today are really interested in local food. They like to see the old recipes coming back with a modern twist. And what these courses have done is allow the chefs to listen to ideas, see what's out there, meet local producers, and then create new modern menus with a sort of a twist of the old food ingredients.
Knowledge of the wide range of fresh fish available to restaurants in the South East is extremely important to chefs in the region. And there is no better place to learn than at the Billingsgate Seafood Training School, located above the Billingsgate Fish Market in London, which has existed in one form or another since the 17th century.
With sustainability issues and with the sort of whole idea of trying to get people to try lots of different species, it's absolutely key to get people really seeing what fish is all about and getting them on the market floor, showing them the huge range of product that you can get here. 150 species of fish will come through the market during the course of a year, so a lot of different varieties, and getting people to expand their horizons and not just sticking to the same old favourites. And that's, to me, a good reason for running this type of training course.
At Billingsgate, the chefs were taken on a tour of the busy market to see the country's widest selection of fresh fish and also receive some training in the art of sushi making.
I think it's a good thing, a good skill to have. I mean, it obviously takes a long time to become perfect, but you know, to have sushi as part of canapés or for parties and things like that, I think it's nice for me to teach them how to do the rice correctly, give them some good tips on how to do the fish, salting the fish and cutting the fish. So that's really what I'm doing here today.
We've done some vegetarian sushi today here, which was absolutely delicious, and I really think that if I would have that as a little canapé before they have their starters or their main courses, it will just educate people once again, so that they can see it's nothing to be scared of.
The Fresh Skills masterclasses and tours have had a significant impact on restaurants and chefs in the South East, and as a result, the focus is now much greater on using local, seasonal produce.
It's very important to me as a chef, but as a business ourselves, we are very local now. We don't get anything for more than 40-50 mile radius regarding our meat and fish produce. I think it's the way to go. You can't rely on the global market anymore.
Well, the chef's tours were absolutely brilliant, and we've ended up using some suppliers that we met on the day. I feel that a lot of the time the chef's in the kitchen and they don't have any contact with the people that actually make the food, and it just comes in a delivery van. So it's nice to actually meet the people and everything, as well as meeting other chefs as well and talking about what they're doing with their business.
There's so little out there for chefs. Working in a kitchen full time is a bit like being on an island, and you don't see anybody else, you get to meet anybody else. But through these courses, I've come on quite a few of them. I've met some really interesting, nice people, and I've learnt so much that I've been able to take back to my business and use.